I ain't afraid of no ghost. Who you gonna call? Goat Busters. Come, now is the time to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Yo, yo. Nightly light of awesomeness. Shernay, Shernay. Good evening, everybody. Here from sunny South Africa. Square in the middle of winter, 8 o'clock at night. Yummy. What do you mean reconnecting? Come on. It said reconnecting, so do we still have comments flying in? Has it killed stream? Do I laugh or cry? Or laugh, cry? Kriloff? There's Tendai. There's Pastor Ned. Hey, how are you? Still, yeah, good. Thanks, Mavis. Man, when it does that turning, then your viewers just disappear, you know? That is like, oh. And you're like, well, you know. Man, I tell you, tonight we're going to talk about the worst calling. The worst office. Pastors, shepherds. Ooh. That is, of all of the callings, the toughest one. But I mean, the people who operate in the office of pastor, they like it. It's fun for them. It's nice. They just deal with all the drama and the politics. So we're going to start off with this tonight. Write down, when you enter someone's trauma, you enter their drama. When you enter someone's trauma, you enter their drama. It's almost impossible not to become part of someone's drama when you're trying to help them recover from the trauma. So, you know, just about the only office which comes with many gifts that is able to truly help people, in the long term with their trauma is the office of the pastor. It requires immense amounts of faith in God's ability to change what is unchangeable. Yes, exactly. When you enter someone's trauma, you enter their drama. And if you are not equipped for this, the fivefold is very important for the equipping of the saints, and it's a massive team effort. You need all fivefold ministry with all of the gifts, all of the manifestation of the Spirit to save, rescue people from the nightmare of their traumas. Your evangelist will go out and shout at the person and say, hey, come here, come to Jesus, come to the gospel. We'll rescue you from that trauma. You'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Unless the person is born again, shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. And then their next stop is usually the pastor. And after all the flowery promises and threats of hell from the evangelist, the pastor is the one who sees that person doesn't have food in their house, or they don't have a mom or a dad, or they've been through terrible things. The evangelist and whatever itinerant ministries can lay hands on that person in that moment, and when they meet them, and that produces a life-defining moment, a life-defining spiritual moment. They can receive prophecy, but now they need someone to take their hand and walk a road with them patiently and lovingly, and through all of their trauma and emotional immaturity and lack of discipline. So we're doing 77 days of faith. Today, I think, is day 27 or 28. And we're going through different subjects in the Bible while I walk on the prayer path at night. That's what this is. It's a prayer path. I've been walking and praying on this prayer path for 10 years. Most days between 3 and 7 laps every day. It's a kilometer, and there's a scripture every meter. And I walk on this with you each night now for these 77 days till the 25th of September. And we discuss everything through the lens of faith, because without faith it's impossible to please God. And the fruit of the Spirit requires faith. The gifts of the Spirit require faith. The office of the fivefold ministry requires faith. It all requires faith. The Beatitudes require faith. The values of the kingdom require faith. Building anything requires faith. You have to believe, and faith is the ability to see what nobody else can see and build it anyway. Commit to it anyway. Make covenant with it anyway. It's often when a young man and a young woman meet, then the mother doesn't like the choice of young lady that the young man has chosen, and then she has no faith in that woman, manifests that lack of faith and makes the young man's life hell. Often the other way around as well. The father doesn't approve of the young man that his daughter has chosen, and he manifests just about every negative thing because he has no faith in it. And so that son or daughter must, in their commitment, in their covenant with that person they've married, be able to leave their parents and commit to that man or woman they've chosen. And in the same way, faith lets you lock on to what you believe God wants you to do and ignore just about everything that makes sense. Any of the advice people give you, don't do it. The amount of people who were angry at me when I said I'm going to stay on one piece of property and pray for 17 years blows your mind. Like, why would you be angry at me about that? I wasn't surprised, because I knew that people will always try and fit you into their box, their perception, their limited faith, their limited understanding. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? Well, you can sing. You should be traveling and singing. Yeah, but that's not what God is telling me to do. How do you know it's God and not a psychological breakdown? They will ask you many, many questions, and all of it will sound like wisdom. But faith is when you make covenant with what you know God has told you to do. You'll build a game in Web3, in the the worst market depression in like 50 years because you believe. You'll, like our team, you'll move to a piece of land before it's paid off, believing that it will be paid off. You'll sell everything you have and do that. And people will try and discourage you, and they'll try and give you worldly wisdom. But faith is making covenant with your choices. And if you believe that God has told you to do something, you lock into it. And no office has that requirement more boldly than the office of the pastor. Because the pastor doesn't have the luxury of failure. Like, if a pastor messes up, unless they've got a super church, if your marriage falls apart, your church falls apart. If your kids are wayward, and they don't serve God, well, according to Timothy, you kind of have to resign. The book of Timothy, like if your kids aren't serving God, if you've been divorced, you can't be a pastor. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult. Because you have to weather the storms of the theologians, of the couch theologians, of the sheep who think they know better than the shepherd, know better than God. Everybody always knows better than you do how to run the church. And the pastor has to hold on to the strategy that he believes God has given him, regardless of who comes and goes. I'll talk about the profile of a pastor, but the thing that Jesus rebuked the most really was pastors have to be humble. They have to be very humble. So the role of a shepherd, it's the most difficult because it requires the most consistent and public humility and wisdom. And when you start to pursue things that require money, you can't say things that offend those who give you money. So you have to compromise the gospel to be a financially strong pastor. That's what Jesus said. You can't serve both God and mammon. You're going to love one and hate the other. You're going to hate one and love the other. You have to tolerate wolves in your camp if you want to keep the lights on. That's the life of a pastor. You have to tolerate foxes eating at the vine if you want to keep the lights on. You have to tolerate dishonor, disrespect, because if you offend those who contribute financially, your lights get switched off. Your doors close. People stop coming to your church because most people are sheep, and sheep want to be where there is green grass. They want to be where the other fat sheep are. They want to be where the power is on. They want to be in the nice buildings. They want to be where the cars are nice. The average sheep wants comfort more than confrontation. They don't want to hear about sin. They don't want to hear about living righteously. The average sheep wants to hear that they can do it, that life is is going to be better, that God's not angry at them, that you are not angry at them. And if you want to build a successful church, unless the Holy Spirit is moving and convicting people of sin, righteousness, and judgment, you have to live a life of patient compromise, where you have to put up with people who you know are sinning so that your lights can stay on. It's not easy being a pastor. You from the pulpit, you can only preach about sin if you're sure that your tithers and business people don't have that particular sin. And if you do, they leave. You end up asking for financial advice and then losing control of your church. You end up setting up an eldership who dishonors you, misrepresents you, and eventually destroys you. You have to have such wisdom and confidence that you can walk alone. But pastors are so gullible and loving and kind and so full of grace that, and we see this over and over and over and over again, that they trust that them have the same desires as they do to love and heal. But most people, especially people of financial means, people who want to sit on councils, want to be on elderships, want to be, on deaconships. Most people are those who were weary and heavy laden. They're insecure. And when a nothing becomes a something, it thinks it's everything. When an insecure leader moves into leadership, the leadership becomes their security. And so most pastors are so surrounded by trauma and betrayal and drama and consistent conflict that if they don't have faith to keep looking after people, they won't keep on. I've been at many pastoral conferences in my life, and at a couple of them, people were ministering and saying, statistically, 7 out of 10 of the pastors in this room are only still pastors because they don't have any other way to survive. They've been pastors their whole lives. They don't want to be pastors anymore. But they've got a home, they've got some income, and they just start to do less and less effort. There's a lot more small churches with dead pastors who are just going through the motions. There's a lot more sheep in those churches combined than in the big, exciting churches where there are driven pastors with vision. And God uses everything. But you have to understand the nightmare of pasturing sheep when half the flock are usually goats. When you've got a church and that church has got 70 seats and you've got 10 people every Sunday and 15 people every Sunday, and you don't know where food is going to come from, you don't know how you're going to keep the lights on, and then a business person comes and pays a tithe that can support the church and support you, and suddenly your whole focus is just keeping that business person happy. There's a local church here. They're one of the bigger churches, and while I was pastoring a church in town, whenever we got business people saved, they would visit those business people and say, what are you doing in that church? You're Afrikaans, you need to be in our church. And if people from their church had money, so if they didn't have money and left, they were welcome to go to any church. But if they had money, they were business people, that pastor would visit and say, listen, they're preaching rubbish at that church. Why are you there? You must be at our church. And it's all about money. The toughest office to be in is the office of the pastor, because you don't have time, really, to make money any other way. The church where I got saved, that pastor did building jobs on the side to get some extra money in. But was very careful not to offend the tithers. His son preached one Sunday. He was young, just came out of Bible college. He was our youth pastor. And his son ministered and said that it's all about souls, because his son is a very evangelistic pastor. It's all about souls, all about altar calls, the full gospel church. And we just happened to be in the same car together. The senior pastor was taking me home because the youth pastor used to lend his car to leaders to take kids home. I was in the car in the back seat while the senior pastor was rebuking his son, saying, those are the people who keep the lights on. Don't fight with them. No. It's easy to pass judgment on pastors. Very easy. Because most of the people who pass judgment on them have no idea how difficult it is to do what they do. They constantly have to trust other people to take care of them. Constantly. If it wasn't for other people, we wouldn't have Jack and Kat and Christy and the Maramans. We wouldn't have anything. We constantly have to trust people to take care of us. Constantly. And if they decide that they don't like us, or they decide that they're offended by what we preach, or if they decide that they don't like what we do with the money that they give us, they just shut you down. They just withhold funds. And it can be very painful. And there's a lot of betrayal. You know, when you set up an eldership, and those are mostly business people or people who think themselves leaders, and somehow in their minds they decide that they outrank that pastor. I've been in 3 situations where people somehow decide that they are my authority. Once, on this very land, a couple of folks came to me, 2 business guys and one of their friends, and told me how this place should be run. There should be a balance of black and white kids, they said. Can't be so many black kids and so few white kids. And we were running a church service. specifically for that people. And I said there will be no church next Sunday or the Sunday after that. There will be no church at all. Goodbye. All the income, all the influence, all the help, it all stopped. I've done it many times. Because although I can pastor, I don't walk in the office of the pastor. I have a very different office, and my office not only doesn't depend on man and need man, but don't like man. As far as I'm concerned, God should have, if I had my way and a say in the matter, if I was on that council with that lying spirit and all those spirits, I would have told God, don't bother with Noah and his family. You're going to be disappointed in the outcome. I also suggest that on top of the flood, send an asteroid just to be safe. You're wasting your time with humanity. Because as a youth pastor, I lost faith in humanity. Totally. And then when I became a senior pastor, I looked at the world and thought, what is the point of helping these people? You know, because Jesus had 12 disciples, of which one was Judas. But when I look around everywhere, I see 11 Judases and one disciple, no matter what you do. Until, we came here and made sure that there's no offerings on a Sunday. We don't take up offerings here at all. And we focus on the poor. And then I was able to see, wow, there are amazing people in God's kingdom. But not everybody has the luxury that we do here at Overcomers when they pastor their churches. They start to look at souls as financial conversion ratios. Many churches where I served, super churches, there was a quota of soul winning that had to match a projected income goal. So in other words, if we win 1,000 souls a month and we have a retention percentage of 33 to 50%, at an average potential salary of minimum wage, 5,500 Rand, then that converts to 500 Rand increase in income every month. So you're looking at 5 to 10,000 Rand increase per altar call. And then start feeling, wow, why they're thinking like that. The justification is you have to be in the business of ministry so that you can win more souls, because your focus is to afford more shepherds. So you have to think in terms of money. So if you want to be a successful pastor, you also have to be very, very wise when it comes to finances. And you have to think mathematically. And people will hate you for it because their reality is so different from yours. And you work hours, so Coach Carl and Kathy and even, Tani V works with them, and Lisa and Nathan, there's a bunch of them who work every day, 7 days a week, feeding the poor, because their ministry is exceptionally pastoral. They counsel, and Carl's even a chaplain with emergency services, so he's there when there's car accidents and stuff like that. praying for people who are on their last breath. And everyone loves him when, everybody loves him when they're hungry. But just let him do one thing wrong. Let him have a bad day. Let him have a financial need. Let him discuss how he's also got dreams. And suddenly, they don't love him so much anymore. There's nothing more difficult than the ministry of a pastor. Literally no other of the fivefold. When I say nothing, I'm talking in context of fivefold ministry. I mean, we're not coal miners, But the burden of entering people's trauma means that you generally enter the lives of people who are broken and selfish and narcissistic, and you work hard to produce righteousness. And if you do a good job, you'll be surrounded by righteous people. But if you're even slightly human, most of what you do will be alone. You won't have members, you won't have volunteers, because if you're not inspirational and consistently loving, consistently kind, if you don't have good people skills, you end up being alone. I'm spoiled. God has given me a car salesman personality, right? So anything I do, I can build an army around me because I grin and I laugh and I share vision. But most pastors don't have a flashy showman personality. They're deep and they're loving and they're caring and they're invisible. I used to get very upset. I still do, but I used to too, when people would say they want to see me directly when we've said, go and chat to that pastor. So I'm not a pastor. I don't care about what you're going through. I only care about what you're going to. You only talk to me if you prayed, God, use me. You talk to the pastors, the shepherds, if you're praying, God, heal me. My personality, my profile, my design, I don't know, sometimes, at some points in my life, I thought, am I a sociopath? Because people would sit and tell me their problems. And I'm like, yes, you don't have them in pain, bro. I'm broken too. But the pastor will love him, but they'll walk past the pastor because they want to talk to the flashy personality. So the pastor, who actually deserves the honor, who actually deserves the attention, the affection, the respect and recognition, that get walked past because people want to go speak to the evangelist or the prophet or the apostle. They want to get advice from the teacher. But the one who's willing to walk with them and visit them in hospital and pray with them and feed them and take care of them is usually the one that's ignored and is invisible. Are you with me? Yeah, very lonely place. It's giving units, Ned. Wow. Yeah, Carl. That's the thing. In the fivefold ministry, if you're not able or willing to walk alone, it's going to be much worse than you think. To step into any office, you require so much faith in the fact that God has told you to do this, and you're committing and making covenant with your choice. Like, you won't get me off here for 17 years. If some sickness or affliction hits me, I'm not leaving this property. You'll bury me here. I'm not leaving until the end of the 17th year, which will total 18 years, actually. Not going. In the same way, people are impressed. Wow, you make a covenant, you haven't left the property, you're praying, blah, 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 blah. That's an easy covenant. And you can see it, so it looks more impressive than the person who's made a covenant for the rest of their life to change your nappies, to visit you when your kids don't want to have anything to do with you anymore, to sit and listen to you whining and complaining as if you're the only one who's got problems in the world. Can you hear my attitude towards thing? Now, when a pastor talks, love flows out of them and care flows out of them, and they honestly care about getting you through what you're going through. So if you wonder, what is your office? Well, if you deeply care about people, you can sit and listen to their struggles. There is a pastoral anointing. Might not exactly be the office of the pastor, because the office of the pastor is a shepherd. God will entrust you with the flock. And the mistake that people make is they think that a pastor has to preach, because they only want to give honor and respect and stuff to people who preach. But they don't understand that they are members of the body, and you have to give honor where honor is due. And there are far more pastors who don't have churches than pastors who do have churches, because churches are mostly run by teachers or evangelists who have shepherds working with them or for them. But if you remove pastors out of the equation, there is no Christianity. It'll just die. Because who's going to go after the lost lambs? Jesus says to Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep. Take care of them, love them. Peter's like, huh? You had to hear it 3 times because Peter's not a pastor. Peter's an evangelist. Vicious, man. Paul's a teacher and an evangelist, but Paul's vicious, chauvinist, Well, you could perceive him to be a chauvinist. You could perceive him to support slavery, but he's just answering the culture of those times with wisdom for those times. It would take more than a century, well, more than a millennium to abolish slavery in the Christian West. So Paul wasn't going to single-handedly abolish slavery. It's one guy taking on empires. So all he could do was teach slaves how to have a bearable existence as believers. Honor your masters. He's not going to change when women get the vote and when women are no longer seen as chattel. I mean, women are hardly allowed to, well, they weren't allowed really to read and write and get educated and stuff like that. So all he could do was say, women, this is how you can survive in these times. Don't stand up in church and pick a fight in a world where you're seen as property. Those times will come later. So Paul was able to be very harsh, and Peter was able to be very attractive, charismatic. But those who were loving, who pastored, took care, you don't see much mention of them at all. One of the great challenges as a pastor is realizing that many people do not see you as a human, but rather a performer. Yes. Amen, Van. Don't get me off here. Literally the wealth of the wicked. God made sure, I mean, it's the first time in my life I ever saw God move so fast financially. He made sure that the place was paid off and we had a house and a church. It's like, there you go, you have everything you need. Now you stay. Okay, thanks, Lord. There's a river, there's a bridge. Small town, no cinema, so you can't quickly sneak across there when nobody's looking to go watch movies. Oh boy. Can you imagine God sitting there up with his council? Okay, we got a moron there in Paris. How are we going to keep him on that piece of land? Let's send him some angry business people. And a lot of Americans to send them there. You know, during COVID, a lot of folks from America were sending their bonus checks. You know, they were getting these checks from the government. They would just send it to us. It was incredible. Just kept us alive, helped us build things. You know, it's absolutely amazing. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep ministering. I'm like with the giggles now. A shower with a bag of water at the start. Yes. Yeah, and it was good. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. The ability to make covenant. Listen, you know, so the office of the pastor, if you ask, you know, what kind of person is a pastor? Usually, it is someone who craves the respect they'll never have. It's someone who craves the honor that they'll never receive, because all of their honor is in heaven, you know. Teachers are the ones who'll get judged the worst in heaven. I think teachers are tomorrow night, I'm not sure. But teachers will receive the worst judgment, and pastors will receive the most rewards. Because teachers will be held accountable for every word that they taught from the pulpit. Every little word. You know, I sometimes wonder, you know, do you really want to be a teacher? Teach the word. But pastors are the ones, all of their rewards are in heaven. You know, here on earth. So remember, I'm not talking about a person who's running a super church. That's usually either a teacher with a lot of prophetic and whatever gifts, management gifts, you know, or it can be an evangelist that has, both those teachers and evangelists have a lot of pastors around them. The ones who get the least glory and deserve the most glory are pastors. They do all the work, like all the heavy work, the people work. They've got to deal with the dirty nappies of the soul. At some point on Facebook, I think someone was like, today's Hug Your Pastor Day. I was like, every day should be a Hug Your Pastor. Don't hug your pastor, give your pastor money. Well, I guess if you don't have money, hug your pastor, give him chocolate or something. You know? But it's very difficult. Like if I'm in a room with a bunch of pastors, then everybody wants to give me shine. I'm like, bruh, there's the people who should be getting shine. because it's hurtful, man. It's so hurtful being in a position where you're doing so much work and the car salespeople are the ones getting all the glory. My personality, there's no glory waiting for me in heaven. I'm not going to get to heaven to a fanfare. The pastors are going to get there to the fanfare. I'm going to get told, listen, you got all your attention while you were on earth. You go sit over there and clap when these guys get their awards. I'm telling you. I've seen it in one of my dreams. I've seen how I'm a shush now. Sit over there. These guys are going to get their rewards in heaven. The pastors, the shepherds, the loving ones, the caring ones. Yeah, you see, there's Carl. It's like, I'll give some people chocolate to give their pastors. See, he's a pastor. Pastors are heavenly life coaches. And it's not easy. I have, out of necessity, not because I was office. I've been ordained many times, different churches, out of necessity, had to be a pastor. And so when you're a youth pastor at a big church, you have a bit of budget and you're able to hire people or raise people or whatever to run home cells and fulfill those pastoral functions. And I tell you, after my first stint, where I was one of the co-youth leaders, I guess, at the first youth group where we were as teenagers, I was like, all right, I'm not a pastor. I am going to prioritize raising pastors. So when we took over the church here in town, we made sure that the guy who did the pastoring got the lion's share of the income, or quibus. I was like, no, you're staying, you're getting a raise. Mandy and I are not going to take a salary. They paid for the rent for the house we were staying in. I said, okay, that's fine. They said, we'll make another plan to survive. I'll preach on Sundays. You take care of all the people, do Father's heart and Father's embrace stuff with the people. And because he was a good pastor, he'll cry with you and stuff. He'll sit there and wash your feet, and very, very good pastor. Me, hell no. No. My goal with this fivefold really is to help you understand how different people in those different offices are, and how important it is to put reverence on the function itself, and to realize that there are still different humans behind that office. But the more you honor that office, the more you benefit from that office. If you honor a pastor, God takes care of you. If you support a pastor and honor them and stop gossiping about them. Yes, Pastor Ned says, I think God makes a lot of fivefold ministers pastor for a season because it's extremely refining. Yes, it does refine. Yeah, it wakes you up, eh? That refining takes the romance right out of it. In getting the options for what I wanted to do in the last season of my life, from when I'm 60. If you believe in such things, I dreamt that I was at a table with the friendly men who are called Jesus or the Spirit of Christ. And I dreamt I was at this table. Okay, when you leave, what would you do? I haven't told anybody this before. So I said, no, I don't have any desires, whatever you want me to do. My wife will follow me anywhere, my kids will follow me anywhere. Pretty sure a lot of people in the vision will go with, we'll do whatever. What do you want us to do? I said, no, man. So I said, no. What would you like to do? I said, whatever you want me to do. So you pretty much train me up for everything. I can be a pastor. I can go and apostle the heck out of something, I reckon. I can go into politics if you like. I can be a lazy bum on a beach somewhere and go snowboarding every winter. You know? And then, the answer was, let's see what the world looks like. But what do you want to do? And I said, oh, well, I know what I don't want to do. I don't want to pastor a mega church. I want to be the person who pastors those, who shepherds those, who is a prophet to those who are in power. But that I don't really care, if it happens or not. What do you want me to do? But when I thought about it after the dream was a lot more serious than I make it sound. I was crying and stuff. But is that a monkey? I heard something. Yeah? Anyway, I was thinking about it afterwards. Like what would I like to do? Like if I could do anything. And I honestly don't know. And I thought about it, like I really thought about it. I was like, I don't know. I've just gotten to a place where it's whatever is needed. Wherever it's needed, whatever is needed. Because I revere the instructions of God more than I revere anything else. And I revere people who have made covenant with their gifts and with the office, and people who honor those who listen to God, and I trust God so much that I believe, and this is, when you ask God, what would you like me to do? I believe it will make you happy far more than it will make you happy. He knows much better than you do. Because he made you. Like, I don't know my own talents, There's a lot of things that I think I can do that I don't know if I can do them. Under pressure, I'd probably be able to learn a lot of things, but he knows what I'm good at, what produces joy within me, what produces freedom within me. I mean, I didn't know that I'd be happy with a strict wife, I mean, my wife she's a disciplined woman. She's 52 years old and she walks around and I can't keep my eyes off her. I didn't know that that's what I wanted. You would have thought that I wanted I dated a girl who, she sang like Sheryl Crow and she was wild and creative. And I thought, yeah, this is a good match for me at the time. And then God gives me a hyper-disciplined, structured, administrative woman, keeps everything clean, and it was very difficult for me in the beginning of the marriage, but now I'm like, my bum is in the butter, man. I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm glad I didn't choose my own wife. Should I have stayed in a super church, planted one, full financial support, been praise and worship leader, we would have still been leading. I could probably just go there now and become one of the worship leaders again. You know, 3 churches on a Sunday, all of them more than 5,000 seats, like unhappy as hell, totally stressed out, under pressure all the time, because you think that's what you want. Should I have just stayed in filmmaking? We would have made it in the end. Should I have moved to America, dragged my family over there? Would have been nice, but dry. Would have felt so dry. Or do you just ask him, what do you want me to do? And he'll often tell you, go serve that person over there. Go and help that person over there. Go and feed that person over there. Gunther says, we also had a short pastor stint. That was enough pastoring for a lifetime for us. Never again, please, Lord. Yeah, Gunther, you must make money, my man. You're still a light even. Those dreams are pretty spot on, I tell you. Like, I don't know you think stuff is going to make you happy, but only God knows. I mean, he knows how you're wired. How the heck was I going to know that staying on one piece of property? I thought because of my talents, the singing and the motivational speaking, that I'd be traveling, to stadiums. And here I am, happy as can be, in the garage, Yeah. God says to Ned and Lacey, take your 7 children and move to one of the smallest towns in South Africa to go and hang out with like the most unfamous bunch of people. Controversial as heck. And he's like, cool. And his wife's like, cool, let's go. Coach Cole and them sell their birthright, their inheritance, and just start feeding people. I mean, look, you want to see what it takes? Paris. Paris. And my lekker wife. Look, you want to see what it takes to make me happy? There. I've got everything I need. Look there. There's a bed. You see? There's a curtain over there. My wife and my kids are happy, right? There's a desk. There's a screen. There's a computer. Right? There's some dogs. That's it. I mean, we're on paid off property and everything. Penance comes in many forms. You better love it, yeah. I'm judging you. I'll watch you, bro. I'll judge you. You better be having fun. You're definitely fit, yeah. Anyway. Well, that's that. As usual. Oh, I see there's a light going on in the kitchen upstairs. I wonder if I'll catch a peek at it. I won't aim the camera up there. It's definitely a hot woman up there. Oh, there's my daughter. There's a hover. See? Love you, my baby. Okay, well, as usual, we almost there. Help us if you can. Nothing came in yesterday, I think. Need like $1,300-ish to keep the lights on here. The threats are getting quite hairy. It's every month while we're building everything. So if you can partner with us, please do. Those of you partnering with the game, just It's onlybelievegame.com. Jump in there, buy stuff, just partner, and help us make it a reality. I wish I had a long speech for you, but I've run out of steam. I'm tired now. Look at my nice chair that Freddie bought me. Oh, I love this chair. It's getting old now, but there's a box I'm praying over there. Ooh-ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Those are the nappies for the floor for Molly, because she, little puppy. There's a goofball on the floor over there. I got a humidifier. This is Mandy's beach chair thing that I steal, and then I go sit outside in the sun sometimes. That's a water thingy. Tanya brought me a heater thingy because I bumped over the other one and it broke, and I was very sad. And then Mandy's sister brought me that one. There's the command center. That's very cool. Nice. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Love you all. Your help if you can. Pray for us. We declare that we have enough money for everything. We can pay the electricity, keep the electricity on, and on the game development side, I think we need like 150, Rob said, keep all the servers and stuff on. I'll work on that as well. But okay, be generous, pray for us, love you. Have a wonderful potato. Hee hee. What? Is that someone coming in here? Is that Rinky? Come. Hi. Come. Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Where's my torch? It's so dark, no one can see anything. Say hi.
Hi.
So pretty. Are you running around here in your little shorts and stuff? What is this?
Shorts.
Short shorts.
Short shorts.
Look how you're growing. Stop growing now.
I don't know how to.
No, you're getting too pretty. I'm going to
I
start
eat is
beating
sweets.
the boys. All you eat is sweets.
Sweet sometimes in the night. But Mom tells me I'm not allowed to, but I still eat.
What happened to your wrist?
What
Your wrist, that one there.
Yes, I told you.
Well, tell everybody.
So, you know where the colorful tunnel is?
Yeah.
I claim I slipped on this one. I slipped on that one. There's these black thingies. I hold my hand and clicked my.
Oh, it clicked your hand. And did you poo on the floor?
No. Why would I?
Why are you so pretty? Eh?
God made me.
Yeah, God did make you pretty. He did a good job. Love you. Mwah.
Love you.
Anyway, it's enough for that. Love you all. Onlybelievegame.com. Go partner with us there. Go and grab some playable cards and stuff. And I don't know. That's it. That's it. Don't know. You say goodbye. You hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.